Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sky Blue pregame show here at Yurcak Field in Piscataway, New Jersey. I'm Evan Davis, filling in for Danielle Diavanzo, joined by Daniel Auletta, color commentator for Sky Blue FC. Obviously, the season opened with a 2-1 shock win for the home team against Seattle Reign back in Seattle. Dan, what are you expecting out of this team this evening?
Well, that game for Sky Blue might have been the most shocking singular result that we've ever seen in NWSL. The Reign had never lost at Memorial Stadium, and Sky Blue battered it down defensively, and they took the chances when they needed to. Earlier, I had a chance to speak to Christy Holly about that and a few other things. Memorial Stadium, how do you duplicate that here today?
We've got a game plan as we go in, and Seattle's a fantastic team. We've recognized what we did well against them, and also what they did well against us. So, we have to apply a level of consistency that we kept talking about for the last couple of weeks. But we'll take little bits and pieces from the first game of the season. We see they've changed their tactics a little bit. We've changed ours a little bit too. So, we'll play to our strengths rather than to their weaknesses. And if we can match the level of quality with a consistent level throughout the game, it should be a positive outcome.
One change to the lineup today. Shauna Gordon comes out. Leah Galton gets her first pro start. Tell me about that change.
Leah gives us a bit of pace. She gives us power. She gives us that drive towards goal, and she's quite ruthless in front of goal. So, and I think that pace is something that it definitely scares some teams and might force them into dropping their line. And if they don't drop their line, then we can get them behind. So it just gives us a little bit more variety in our attack.
Sam Kerr downgraded on the injury report to doubtful, but she is in the 18. What is her status for today?
Absolutely. So Sam's on the subs bench again today, and depending on what the needs are of the game, we'll look to get her in, get her through another fantastic week of practice. So we're happy with her. But again, it's something we want to be very careful. We've done it with other players where we've put them in and then we let them sit out for a week. We're managing her, and I think the Australian FA is very happy with where she is, and so are we. So we just have to be careful now.
Thank you very much. Good luck today.
Thanks very much.
Excited to see how Galton fits into this starting lineup. Now on to the visiting team, the Seattle Reign. Obviously have had their struggles, rather atypical, also beset by a lot of injuries. Dan, now that players like Jessica Fishlock are back in the lineup, what do you expect out of Seattle this time around?
Well, Fishlock is a big key. She did play in the game at Memorial Stadium, but then she did go out for several weeks. I always talk with Jess Fishlock about the checkerboard effect, that if you broke the soccer field up into a 64-square checkerboard, nobody in NWSL has an impact on more of those 64 spots than Jessica Fishlock. Offense, defense, she can make tackles, she can win possession, she can get up into the attack, make the final pass, and finish. So Jess Fishlock is a big key. But for the Reign, for one reason or another, they're not playing as dynamically as they have over the last two seasons. Not exactly sure what the reason is. They did bring Naho Kawasumi back, but she's not here quite yet. Megan Rapinoe hasn't played yet. I expect them to be better than they were at Memorial Stadium against Sky Blue, but I'm wondering when we're going to see the Reign team that won the last two Shields.
We'll be very excited to see how this match unfolds here at Yurcak Field. We'll be throwing it to Corey Cohen and Dan for the call, but before them, we will see the teams walk out, and we will also observe a moment of silence for all of the victims of the tragedy in Orlando last week.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Pride Night here at Sky Blue FC as they are prepared to take on Seattle Reign FC in a pivotal mid-season matchup here at Yurcak Field in Piscataway, New Jersey. I'm Corey Cohen on play-by-play. My partner, Dan Auletta, still down on the field. He'll be up here shortly. But we will continue with that pregame show talking about these two teams that are about to face each other in, as I said, a crucial matchup looking at where they are this season. We'll start talking about Sky Blue, the exact same lineup as they fielded last week, except for one change. Leah Galton, the rookie out of Hofstra University, the English international, is making her first career start in the NWSL. She'll be playing up top. Taylor Lytle will play more in the midfield, her natural position. And so we'll see how Sky Blue does with that. But so far, Leah Galton, who's appeared in 3 matches, has been absolutely stellar in everything that she's done. She's come off the bench multiple times. She's got an assist. She's got a goal, which she scored against Chicago on the road, which helped deliver Sky Blue a crucial draw against one of the top teams in the league. And she's just been dynamite so far for this young squad. She's a very young player, just turned 22 years old, and she's getting her first career start here for Sky Blue at Yurcak Field. Taking a look at Seattle, They've got a lineup that is just one of the best in the league. You can see there it's the exact same starting 11 they fielded last week when they defeated the Houston Dash 1-0 at home. That was at Memorial Stadium. If you're watching the pregame show, as Dan and Evan were talking about, Sky Blue was able to defeat Seattle at Memorial Stadium in an absolutely shocking result to begin the season. 2-1 was that score with a game winner from Kelly Conheeney. We're going to we'll go just for another moment before the national anthem and a moment of silence. But this Seattle Reign FC squad, that midfield is deadly. Kim Little, Jessica Fishlock, and Keelan Winters. Little with 3 goals on the season, just 1 goal shy of Kristen Press for the league lead. 2 assists from Fishlock, and Winters, the captain on the right side, should be lethal. I was speaking to assistant coach Paul Grieg before the match, and he had nothing but high praise for that midfield. Absolutely one of the best in the world, as he called it. Another key player to watch, Havana Salon, who made her first career start last week. She's 23 years old, out of the University of Florida. She was drafted last year, but had to sit out with an injury. So this year has been the first time that she's gotten action in the league. She's come off the bench a few times, made her first start last week, and scored what was eventually the game winner as Seattle won 1-0. She had a great goal. So her first career goal. She is still in the starting lineup, playing up top on the right side. And so we'll see how that goes for Havana Salon. And of course, Hope Solo, the goalkeeper for the United States women's national team, the best really in history. She will be playing in between the posts for Seattle. Absolute star from that area, from Washington State, playing for Seattle Reign FC. And before she departs for international duty, she will be playing here at Yurcak Field in a big matchup. You see, for Sky Blue, Kelly O'Hara and Christy Rampone, but for Seattle Reign, they're fielding Hope Solo, along with a couple other key internationals from other countries. Megan Rapinoe on this squad, but she's been out all season with an injury. Christy Rampone, Captain America, who will not be heading down to the Olympics, just introduced. And of course, Christy Holly, who's leading the ship in his first year as head coach for Sky Blue FC. We're going to take a quick break for a moment of silence from the Orlando tragedy and then the national anthem.
And now, your attention please, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we would ask that you please rise and remove your hats. At this time, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge those individuals who were lost or injured in Orlando, Florida last weekend in a senseless tragedy that was fueled by hate. To the city of Orlando and all of those affected by the horrific act of terrorism that occurred, we want you to know that we are grieving with you. As we celebrate Pride Night this evening, we also want the entire LGBTQ community to know that we stand with you and will never stop fighting alongside you for equality, inclusion, and respect. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, please join us in a moment of silence for the victims and all of those who are affected by the tragic events of Sunday, June 12th in Orlando, Florida. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please remain standing as we honor the United States of America and the men and women who protect this great nation with the singing of our national anthem. Performing tonight's national anthem is Emma Campbell.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and
Ladies and gentlemen, Emma Campbell.
And we're back here, ladies and gentlemen, after that moment of silence, a great moment here at Yurcak Field after the tragedy that took place in Orlando. As you could see earlier, the flag lowered to half-mast for the victims and the pride flag hanging right below the flag of the United States of America. And of course, nothing really that we could say here in the booth except for the fact that our heart breaks for the victims, their families, the country, and the world. But hopefully, just seeing this acceptance and passion spread throughout the NWSL and throughout the country, hopefully that helps in any little bit of a way. And I mentioned earlier, as now I bring Dan Lauletta into the booth, I mentioned earlier this week on Twitter how incredible the NWSL has been when it comes to equality and being on the forefront of the fight for LGBT equality and rights, because that's something that a lot of other leagues, they're just sort of coming around to it, and some still aren't completely on board or doing all that they can. And it's really nice in terms of the league and what obviously Sky Blue's doing here with Pride Night and everything attached to it. It's just a really powerful show of respect.
It really was. I think you can put the WNBA in there also as a league that's been ahead of its time. And really, it's been so far ahead of its time, it mostly goes under the radar. It's not really an issue that gets discussed very often because it isn't an issue for the overwhelming majority. And also, in terms of the tributes, we saw a little bit more in Washington last night because that's where the Orlando Pride team was playing. But Orlando City SC did great stuff last night in their MLS game with the 49 balloons in the empty seats.
All
in the
rainbow
stands.
balloons.
That was fantastic.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned, I mean, just a horrible tragedy, and especially with obviously this new NWSL team, the Orlando Pride. I mean, at this point, it's no better name for a team that is that in that community than the Orlando Pride with everything that happened. And of course, everyone will get through it, and we will do everything that we can to make sure that everyone is able to get through this, and hope that we as a society inch ever so closer. And again, that's one of the big parts of having something like this Pride Night here at Yurcak Field, and something that I think is very important, and something that's just a big step. As you mentioned, a lot of times it goes under the radar because of how it's not a big deal in this league, and how really incredible that is when you think about it. So we are just about to get underway in this matchup between Sky Blue FC and Seattle Reign FC in a crucial midseason matchup with these two teams sitting right there at the middle of the table, both trying to make a playoff push. We are just about to begin play here at Yurcak Field in Piscataway, New Jersey. And we're off.
As we kick it off, Corey, the 41st straight appearance for Kim Little, regular season. That ties Bev Yanez's Reign record, and the 38th straight start for Lauren Barnes. And that is a club record. And the old record that she broke was 35 straight starts by Lauren Barnes. So she hasn't played every game, but pretty darn close, and most of the time she plays the full 90.
Sky Blue wearing the light blue jerseys. Heading from the left side of your screen to the right here in the first half, Seattle Reign wearing the lime green kits, heading from the right to the left. As I mentioned, I'm Corey Cohen on play-by-play with my partner, as always, Dan Lauletta. And we have to mention Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. My father, of course, Dan's father, and Dan actually is a father. So, Dan, Happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Ball with Seattle right now, played back with Lauren Barnes. Barnes, a California native, graduate of UCLA. Kicked forward, Kristen Grubka making another start in the backfield for Sky Blue. And now the ball with Keelan Winters, the captain. On the right side, played forward, intended for Beverly Yanez. Doesn't find her.
Key for me in the match will be, will the Seattle Reign be able to send different players forward and find them? They were built the last 2 years on quick movement, quick counterattacks, reacting quickly to developments on the field. They've been a little bit slower playing the ball this season than in the last two.
Ball in the midfield, and it's played back Knocked forward. Header from Skrosky, but it goes out of bounds, so not a very successful attempt that time, and Seattle will get the throw-in. Taking the throw-in, Lauren Barnes. She's got 1 assist on the season.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time for today's match will be kept on the
Ball about 20 yards out here. Pass to Kim Little. And here's Jessica Fishlock.
If one does enter the stands, we have
Fishlock forward, touches Yanez's foot, but cleaned up, and Stanley has it. Stanley picks it up and gives it to Captain America, Christy Rampone. Back to Sarah Killian, who's been a holding midfielder for this squad. And especially with some of the talent in the attacking midfield, Killian really has been able to play her natural position of a holding defensive midfielder and not have to move too far up.
And as we've talked, the attacking options for Sky Blue have grown since week 1 with, you see, Galton now starting. That means Shauna Gordon's on the bench, but Tasha Kai available off the bench, and Samantha Kerr, who clearly is not 100%, but she, 50, 75% of Sam Kerr is better than 100% of most players. So a lot more options available as we get to the midpoint than were there for Christy Holly early in the season.
Absolutely, and you mentioned Sam Kerr. Unlikely that she'll play tonight. I spoke with head coach Christy Holly. He said if this were a crucial match, then maybe you consider it, but it's a long season. You want to be precautionary. You want to be careful. So unlikely that she will enter this match. When I said crucial match, I more meant maybe final game of the season, not that this isn't a crucial match. In fact, he made it a point that every single match, no one match is bigger than another, and that he wants 3 points in every single game that this team plays. And that's something that you hear from a lot of coaches, but with Christy Holly, he sincerely means it.
Well, and these two teams are both hovering around the middle of the table, and you need to take care of business against the teams that you're chasing, because as we've talked about before, there are enough teams that it's hard to get past a lot of teams over a short period of time, but there are few enough teams that there's always going to be 2 teams you're trying to chase playing each other.
Intended for Yanez, but Grubbs gets ahead of it. Kristen Grubka has started in the center back position, with Skrosky moving over to fullback as she's playing right back yet again this week after she did last weekend against FC Casey, and she's done a good job up there. Kim DeCesar now on the attack, see if she can counter. But she's caught up to, plays it back wisely to Skrosky, right back to Killian. Matthias all the way back defending, and Barnes gets the last touch, so it'll be a corner kick for Sky Blue.
That little on-the-ball run there is not Kim DeCesar's game. You saw that Matthias caught up to her pretty easily.
And not a corner kick, a throw-in, and Sky Blue will get another one of those. Skrosky to take it. Finds Rocky Rodriguez, the Dynamite rookie, number 2 overall draft pick. Here's Skrosky. She's trapped. Last touch off of Sky Blue as the assistant referee appealed to the head referee. And they went with Seattle possession.
We just found out that Rodriguez's Costa Rica side will be the opponent for the send-off game for the U.S. before they head to Brazil. Somewhat bad news for Sky Blue. It means she'll probably miss the July 9th game here, but good to get her some more international experience against one of the best, if not the best team in the world.
Absolutely, and Raquel Rodriguez, a star for her Costa Rican national team. She plays a huge part in their success. Sarah Killian plays it back to Kelly O'Hara. And now DeCesar. It's forward. Was she off? Yes, she was. So Leah Galton, again, her first career start, as she's entered the game the past 3 matches, but starting for the first time. She's got an assist and a goal. And instead of subbing in the second half as she did the past few weeks, she's starting. And Dan, I think you'd agree, she's got a bright future.
She does, and you can see right there that she's going to ride that defensive line pretty close and be aggressive every second that she's on the field. I don't think the home fans last week got the same sort of minutes from Galton that she gave in the Western New York game and in the Chicago game. So first start, and we'll see. It's a different animal playing against this type of competition when you're coming in the same as everybody else as opposed to playing against some tired legs. But I think Galton has a very bright future. And I expect her to be better today than she was last week.
Throw in for Sky Blue, that's Kelly O'Hara, another member of the U.S. women's national team. Header up for grabs. Conheeney gets a piece of it, but right there is Havana Salon. Salon plays it back to Ellie Reed and back to Hope Solo. Speaking of international players, statistically, I mean, has just broken every record that the U.S. had in terms of goalkeepers, and simply the best in history, pretty objectively when you look at the stats.
She's unbelievable, and the other thing about Hope Solo is that many really important games she's played her best, and that sometimes can be just as important as building up the statistics. Which, as you know, there's the debate going on about whether U.S. soccer is trying to pad the shutout stats, but she's been outstanding and for an awful long time.
Corner kick is headed by Grubka, who got a piece of it, and this could be a counterattack for Seattle. Ball in the midfield, a foul called.
All that said about Solo as the ball gets ready to go the other way. This has not been a great season for her in terms of league form. She made a pretty poor mistake that led to the game-winning goal against Sky Blue, and she's had a couple of other games where she's looked a little bit less than 100%.
She picked up a yellow card in that Week 1 matchup against Sky Blue at Memorial Stadium. Passed back from Salon. Here's a shot on goal from Fishlock, but it's wide. And Hope Solo stopped a penalty kick. Now, she didn't actually make the save, but Sarah Killian took a PK in that match, went off the post, and obviously part of that is on the PK taker, but part of it also is on the keeper for how they are able to defend the net. DeCesar. Forward, but too much power intended for Kelly Conheeney, and the ball will go with the rain.
I misspoke a moment ago. The game that Raquel Rodriguez will miss will be July 23rd, not July 9th. That's a different matchup for the U.S. on July 9th, so thank you to my friend Chelsea for sending me that via Twitter.
Always good. I believe we mentioned last week against FC KC, a ball that certainly looked in. We weren't sure. And we mentioned that I'm sure there were going to be fans on Twitter who were going to screenshot it, send it in, and of course there were. So obviously great participation from fans, both here at matches, but also for everyone watching the broadcasts. Skrosky with a great defensive play, cleared away, and does it stay in bounds? It does. Nice header from Kendall Fletcher. Fletcher formerly played for Sky Blue back in the WPS days. With Seattle now. She has played and started every game this season. Rodriguez, double teamed, plays back to Taylor Lytle. Grubka, and all the way back to her keeper, Caroline Stanley. Stanley did not play against Seattle in that first match as Caroline Casey, the rookie, got the start. The first two matches of the season, Holly then gave Caroline Stanley 2 matches, and since then has gone with Stanley in every match. He likes to give his keepers a touch of confidence, and he said while she's not untouchable, she's clearly played well enough by his standards that she has earned the job of the starting keeper.
And she's been solid. Distribution, I think, is a bit of an issue. And just in general, set-piece defense.
A foul just on the outside of the box, but no whistle called. Certainly some contact, but it won't officially go down as a foul as the ref swallows his whistle. Rocky Rodriguez plays to Conheeney. Not a very good first touch. Finds Taylor Lytle. Will she take the shot? She does. Off the post. Can Sky Blue get another chance? Taylor Lytle shot again. Hope Solo right there. Not a great save, but stays in front of it. And so while Sky Blue still scoreless, the fans were very amped up about those 2 shots from Taylor Lytle.
We've talked about it before. That's Taylor Lytle's wheelhouse. We've seen her score goals from spots like that, and that didn't miss by a whole lot. And those balls off the crossbar that come back in play, it's difficult for the keeper to get back in position, but Sky Blue wasn't able to get the second shot off quickly enough, and that allowed Solo to recover.
And even that second shot, as you mentioned, not a very clean save for Solo. I mean, she stayed in front of it, but as you mentioned, maybe not her best season in the league, and that play in a way demonstrates it. Skorowski with the header. In the midfield, Yanez gives it up, and Rampone plays it back to Stanley. Ball now with Salon. Forward, a bit of a miscommunication between Skorowski and Grubka. Skorowski does have it. She's going to try to keep it with Sky Blue. Lytle is trapped in the corner. Can she keep possession? Plays it forward with Grubka, and a nice clearance to Caesar. Great trap. Back to Rodriguez. And here's Kelly O'Hara. O'Hara plays it forward. Just too much power for Kelly Conheeney, and Hope Solo comes out and grabs it. Ball now with Lauren Barnes, the left back, and Salon. Here's Kendall Fletcher. Switches fields.
Every home game this season, it's Sky Blue FC wins. Our fans win, and I Play America in Freehold. For the Sky Blue FC victory, all fans win.
Ball in the midfield, and now with Fishlock. Intended for Salon. Skorowski gets a piece. Lytle trapped with basically a triple team. Killian finds Grubka behind her. Over to Rampone. Rodriguez breaks out of that. Winters is there. Forward to Leah Galton, but out of bounds. Throw in for Seattle. Taking the throw in is Ellie Reed out of Park City, Utah, the home of the Sundance Film Festival. Played 87 minutes against Sky Blue in that Week 1 matchup in Seattle. Ball just on the outside of the box, sent away. And so Seattle clear of danger for a moment.
This is good stuff early on, though, from Sky Blue. Christy Holly has to be real pleased with how his team has started here almost 15 minutes in.
Killian forward, but no one there to make a run. Hope Solo will field. She's got some time and now picks it up. Nice drop kick. That's got distance. Rampone gets her head on it. Now in the midfield, it's Kim Little. And Dan, you mentioned the starts that she's made, but not only has she started, she's been a huge factor for Seattle as Salon was offside.
Yeah, Little's terrific. I don't know how many people, I didn't know too much about her when she came over to play in NWSL in 2014. But I feel like when Kim Little touches the ball, the highest percentage of time, or a higher percentage of time from any player in the league, something positive happens when she touches the ball. She might not always score or create a goal or a chance, but almost always the Rain are in a better position when she loses the ball than when she gets the ball. Not a lot of bad giveaways. When they played Kansas City earlier this season, it was the first full game after the Fishlock injury. And they beat Kansas City 1-0, and Kim Little did such great defensive work in the Seattle penalty box in that game. It was really astounding to see.
Ball sent in, intended for DeCesar, broken up by Fletcher. Conheeney's there. Now with Winters. And a foul called. That'll be a free kick for Seattle.
And there's not a lot that Kim Little does that makes it on the highlight reel. She had a great goal to finish a hat trick in Houston a year or two ago, but a lot of the little things she does really extraordinary, and one of the absolute top handful of players that we have in this league right now.
Kim Little, just 25 years old, Scottish international. She's the current BBC Women's Footballer of the Year, a big honor for her. Grubka to Skorowski, back to Grubka, and booted away out of bounds. Just in front of the stands. And we'll see a throw-in for Seattle. Lauren Barnes. Salon finds space for Barnes, and a through pass to Kim Little. She's in the box. She's got space. A pass, and somehow doesn't go in. Another shot broken up and cleared. What a play by Kristen Grubka, who is earning her starting position as a center back for Sky Blue. Still loose, Stanley comes out to get it. The goal is loose, and another clearance, this time by Kelly O'Hara. And boy, Caroline Stanley caught out of position twice, and yet Sky Blue still did not concede a goal with spectacular defense from that Sky Blue FC back line.
Well, there you see Little. O'Hara did a pretty good job on Fishlock on that pass in by Little, and somehow Fishlock hit the underside of the bar. That's by far the best sequence we've seen tonight from Seattle. And you're right, a couple of really nice clearances from Sky Blue defenders after that.
I mean, you saw Grubka. She not only deflected the shot that came on the second chance opportunity, but then when she was on the ground was able to extend her leg and knock it clear.
So both teams now have had close encounters with the crossbar, but we stay scoreless in the 18th minute.
Exciting match so far here at Yurcak Field. Ball on the back line with Sky Blue. Rodriguez playing deep. Ball now with Grubka. So what a set of events for Kristen Grubka. Taylor Lytle and a player's down. I believe that is... It's tough to tell, actually.
She sat up, and Jess Fishlock walked in front of her and then walked out, and she sat back down again. So we missed the number. It looks like, no, it's not Fletcher. We'll find out soon enough. And injuries are something that the Reign really have had some rough luck with, starting when Megan Rapinoe tore her ACL training with the national team last fall, but Manon Melise got hurt after a few weeks. Jess Fishlock was injured. Kendall Fletcher had to come off early with an injury at one point, and part of winning.
And that's Lauren Barnes.
Lauren Barnes, who we said has played 38 consecutive starts and 35 in a row right before that. But part of winning the Shield 2 years in a row and only losing 5 games over 2 years or 6 games over 2 years is staying healthy, and it hasn't been quite as lucky for the Reign in terms of their health this season.
Barnes being helped up by the trainer and being applauded by the fans here at Yurcak Field. So Kristen Grubka, again, a stellar series of events on defense. The 23-year-old out of Florida State didn't get too much time last season, her rookie year, after she was drafted 10th overall, but has really come on this season to insert herself into that back line and had a great play there for Sky Blue FC. Her teammate will potentially play in this match, Carson Pickett from Florida State. She's just 22 years old. Together on the defensive line, they won a national championship in the NCAA where they did not allow a goal through the entire tournament. And that Florida State defense with Grubka and Pickett, I actually happened to see them up close at a game in Pittsburgh, and they were absolutely stellar, particularly defensively, but really the whole team.
And Barnes, nice to see, is back on for Seattle. She's got a nice consecutive minute streak working here, too, as well as just the starts.
Sent forward. Can this through pass find Little? It does. She's got some time. Kim Little plays it back to Salon. Havana Salon in her second career start. Right back. No one to make a run, so Stanley fields it cleanly in the 21st minute.
A nice defending by Killian. If you saw Salon's goal last week against the Houston Dash, it was a fantastic strike, but there wasn't a Dash defender in sight when she got that ball. Killian wasn't about to let that same thing happen, and that time.
Ball in the midfield. Nice work by Merritt Mathias, who's playing a little far back for the striker position that she plays. She's definitely inserted herself into the midfield when the ball is near there. Killian. Interception. Ball with Winters. Little. Right back to Winters, and she'll play it back. Lauren Barnes. Fletcher. And a boot forward Again, too much power. Stanley comes out and grabs it for Sky Blue. We talked about that win last week for Seattle, 1-0 over Houston. That snapped a 4-game winless streak for the Reign.
And they hadn't gone more than 2 games without winning during the 2 seasons they won the Shield. So 4 in a row without a win was kind of jarring for the folks up in Seattle.
Little plays it back to Ellie Reed. And now Winters.
And they're still chasing it. Even if they win this one, they'll go to next week out of the playoffs. And if they can't change that next week, then they'll be at the midway point of the season having to pass somebody to get into the playoffs. It's not a scenario they were in at all the last 2 years. They chased Chicago a little bit last season, but that was for the top spot. It wasn't for the it wasn't to get into the playoffs.
Exactly. Seattle, one of the top teams consistently in the history of the NWSL. Certainly up there. And even though FC KC has the 2 championships along with Portland with 1, Seattle in an elite group of top organizations in this league. Cross to Lauren Barnes, now with Fletcher. DeCesar is right on top of her. And a great interception and a foul called against Seattle. Great interception from Kelly Conheeney, who was signed on this team through open tryouts and has been a pretty consistent member of the starting 11, barring some injuries, since that first game of the season when she scored the game winner in Seattle. So we'll see if she factors in. Hasn't scored since that Seattle game. The other player who scored in that game was Tasha Kai. She'll likely come off the bench. And so we'll see if either of them can recreate some of the magic they had at Memorial Stadium.
Kai hasn't scored since that goal either.
And I was actually speaking to head coach Christy Holly about Tasha Kai, and he says that she's been excellent for them, that she's just been a magical player. And even though she hasn't found the back of the net since then, that they're still incredibly confident and they think that she's doing a great job.
Well, I think that Tasha Kai, the way she plays, she is tailor-made. I know players don't like to hear this all the time, but she is a tailor-made second-half sub when you need a goal type player.
And certainly Coach Holly and Coach Grieg and the entire staff, they'll have that option because of the talented players they have up top, considering Kim DeCesar, Sam Kerr, Leah Galton, and then Tasha Kai. Here's Fishlock. Through pass, great through pass to Yanez, but Stanley grabs it for a great save, preventing perhaps the first goal of the match. Yeah, Caroline Stanley doing a great job of positioning.
Good read by Stanley. Fishlock with a terrific play through midfield to just walk through Sarah Killian and gain possession.
Normally an absolutely deadly ball when you look at that through pass. I mean, it was timed perfectly, and Stanley with the intelligence to come out and grab it. That's what you need from your keeper. Conheeney chasing Rachel Corsi. She's picked up 2 yellow cards this season. Played 15 minutes in that first match against Sky Blue. 26th minute here in New Jersey, still scoreless. Played to Winters. Fletcher forward to Lauren Barnes, being defended by Lytle. Broken up for a moment by Skrosky. And another through pass. Great defensive job by Christy Rampone. A very clean interception. Winters jumps on that ball before Lytle. Now Fletcher back to Winters, and Seattle will reset. The leading scorer for the Reign against Sky Blue in history was a player who, up until a couple days ago, wasn't even on the squad anymore, but she is now signed with the team. Won't play tonight, but Naho Kawasumi, the Japanese international, has scored 3 goals against Sky Blue, and just a few days ago was announced that she has signed with the Reign, and again, she will not play tonight, but moving forward, as she will not be going to the Olympics. Japan did not qualify. She will likely be a big factor on this team.
That is a huge signing, and that is a direct result of Japan not qualifying to go to Rio. And unlike last time when she was in Seattle on a loan, she is now a fully contracted player to the Reign, and she will add width to the team. She has as good a cross as I've ever seen in women's soccer, and they will benefit when she gets here.
Through pass ball with Matthias. She's in the box. It's a cross and gets through everybody. Kim Little with the ball. We'll see if she can get a second attempt here for Seattle. Some great defense as Leah Galton coming all the way back and making Seattle sort of hit the reset button. And Kawasumi won the 2011 World Cup as they defeated the U.S. in the finals. Scored a couple goals in that World Cup. And as you said, because she won't be playing at the Olympics, she'll be a key member of this team. Another recent signing, Rumi Utsugi, yet another Japanese international. That's Seattle. And a misplayed kick from Caroline Stanley headed away, and that could have been absolutely lethal for Sky Blue. Stanley doing the right thing by coming out and getting it, as it looked a little too close for comfort. Just not a good kick on it.
And Fishlock was upset about something, and I don't think she was aiming that at the referee, so I'm not sure what that was about for Fishlock. I'll say a final word about Kawasumi. I was talking to my normal pregame partner, Danielle Diavanzo, about the game here in 2014 when Kawasumi scored after Jill Lloyden slipped in the wet conditions. It's a beautiful day today for a game, but when the Reign were here in 2014, it literally poured torrentially from the moment I got here, about an hour and a half before the game, till well after I left the game. It was the most horrendous conditions I've ever seen for a soccer game, and the Reign won 2-0. And as I said, that first goal, Jill Lloyden just kind of slipped right inside the 6, and Kawasumi just tapped it in.
Cleared away, and we should see later in this season. Now, this is the last time that Sky Blue is playing Seattle, but Kawasumi and Utsugi, both Japanese internationals, very likely to make a big impact on this squad.
Yeah, those two and Megan Rapinoe, who will be around for at least some parts of the season, and they have reinforcements coming.
And while they have a couple international players on the squad, not many of them will be heading off to Rio for the Olympics, including Kim Little. So besides Hope Solo, they'll have Haley Kottmeyer, who's already played 2 games this season, in goal. Besides Hope Solo leaving, they won't be missing too much in July when some of the national teamers are gone.
Yeah, there's some question as to whether Rapinoe is still in the mix or not, but it's hard to miss a player who hasn't been here yet.
Exactly. It's sort of like we were talking last week with FC Kansas City and the fact that they haven't had Sydney Leroux, but she also hasn't played for them yet.
I mean, I think they missed Rapinoe in a broad sense, but for this season she hasn't played, so it'll just be a nice addition when she does get back on the field.
31st minute. Sky Blue, Galton heading in and showing great speed. Solid cross, but nobody there to retrieve it. But Leah Galton can really break when she needs to. So we'll see if she can use that later in this match, but certainly moving forward in this season and in her career. Throw in for Lauren Barnes. Finds Winters. Nice tackle from Rodriguez, but it'll stay with Seattle. Another throw in for Barnes. Laura Harvey on the Seattle bench. 2-time NWSL Coach of the Year. And she's just done a great job with this program.
That's usually not possible, right? Because usually the Coach of the Year goes to a coach that improved the team. That didn't happen last season, but the voters and the fan vote still saw fit to make Harvey the Coach of the Year.
Right. Normally it's that sort of surprise, come-from-nowhere coach. Not a lot do you see a coach, and great tackle from Skrosky, not a lot do you see a coach who is expected to do well, who does well, win it. And yet she's got 2 of them under her belt.
And ironically, Paul Riley did the same thing in WPS when he was coaching the Independents. And maybe Paul Riley's at the top of the list so far for 2016 at NWSL.
Absolutely, with the way that they've played. Out of bounds. Sky Blue approaching the 33rd minute of action. Grubka to Skrosky. Skrosky, if you haven't watched many games throughout this season, then you may not be familiar with the fact that she was a 4-year player for Rutgers, played her entire career here at Yurcak Field, was drafted in this 2016 NWSL draft, and has been a mainstay in the starting 11.
And she's been nothing but solid every second she's been out there so far. Christy Holly talks about the steep learning curve, but Erica Skrosky seems to be doing just fine with whatever grade that steep curve is.
And you can't underestimate the factor that she is playing at the same field that she played all throughout college. So it really hasn't been a huge adjustment for her, except for the level of competition. But all the outside factors, they haven't really affected her much. Through ball from Fishlock, but Stanley's there. 34th minute. And so we saw Sky Blue with a couple of shots, nearly scored. And then we saw Seattle do the exact same thing. And since then, it's been a pretty quiet match. Grubka. Killian plays it up. The second overall draft pick, not of 2016, but of 2015. So between Killian and Rodriguez, both number 2s and both huge anchors in the midfield. There's Rodriguez, gets a piece of it. Grubka, and now Kelly O'Hara. Galton gets a little push, loses possession, picked up by Winters. Played back from Fishlock. And now Lauren Barnes. Taylor Lytle on her. Turn and go from Yanez. But nobody there. Rampone breaks it up. And Sky Blue, we'll see what they can do here. Galton showing that speed yet again. She's just been an explosive player so far. Ball's in the box. Passes to Kanhini, but can't get a good foot on it. But here's Taylor Lytle. Sky Blue with a second chance. Ball's in the air, headed away. Rodriguez settles. Can she get a shot? No. Contact foul against Rocky Rodriguez.
That is great stuff from Leah Galton. She realized that she was quicker than Ellie Reed and had some field behind her, and she used that speed and beat Ellie Reed clean. Might have taken one touch a little bit too heavy, but I still thought on first watch, and we'll look at it again, I thought the ball to Kanhini was good enough that Kanhini's got to put that on frame.
I actually agree with you.
I don't know if Kanhini wasn't expecting the pass or not, but I like when players use their strengths.
And you mentioned there's the foul, and some of the fans here were upset. That did look like a foul against Rodriguez, so Sky Blue didn't get another chance there. But, I mean, you talk about Leah Galton and Kelly Kanhini. They don't really have much chemistry or experience together, at least, because Kanhini, she was a big factor earlier in the season, obviously scored the goal in the first match, and then Leah Galton really just coming on a couple weeks ago. So they haven't played together a whole ton. It's tough to really build that level of chemistry.
That is true, but I love to see a player that has speed use their speed. Players need to play from the strengths of their game, and there's really nothing that could go wrong if you try to beat a player in that particular situation.
And Galton's really already done it twice in this game, just beating a player on pure speed, and it's been incredibly impressive.
And long term, that could keep Ellie Reed from getting as high from the right back slot as maybe Laura Harvey wants her to. And she does get very high and can get herself into the attack. And actually, at different times in her career here, has played as an attacking player in the midfield.
That's true. That's a great point. Ball forward. Here's some speed, but from Kelly O'Hara, the left back, She's forward, got a couple of players with her just outside of the 18, takes a shot, and her international teammate Hope Solo stops it. Great run from Kelly O'Hara, creating spaces we see on that replay. Didn't have the clearest strike at goal, but as we saw earlier in this game, sometimes it's just better to take a shot and go from there instead of allowing the rest of Seattle's defense and midfield to catch up and try to find the perfect shot. Hope Solo now with Ellie Reed.
The official hauler is the Sky Blue FC.
Forward now with Matthias. Grubka's on her. The ball right on the end line, and it's out of bounds. A goal kick coming for Sky Blue in the 38th.
Grubka's continuing to have a nice game here. She got into the lineup a few weeks ago when O'Hara was out with the United States national team. And Christy Holly elected to keep her in the middle, keep Erica Skrosky out right. And Erin Simon has been on the bench now for a few games.
Well, yeah, that was the first time that Skrosky played as a fullback was when he inserted Grubka into the starting 11. And since then, even with O'Hara back, he's elected to keep Grubka in the starting 11. And as you mentioned, Erin Simon has now been on the bench for 2 straight matches. Galton finds Taylor Lytle. Ball is loose in the midfield. Keelan Winters is there.
And I don't know how much you coach to look ahead to the adjustment period you'll have when the U.S. players get pulled away, and there's only one more week after this that they'll be here, so Kelly O'Hara will be gone again in 2 weeks. But if it stays this way, then we're just looking at a straight Simon in for O'Hara swap on the back line, and the back line is the one unit that you can't afford to mess around with chemistry if you can help it, because that's the last line of defense in front of the keeper.
And that might be a factor with Christy Holly's decision as opposed to moving things around a ton. This way, when O'Hara leaves, you can just, as you said, swap Simon for O'Hara. An attack here for Sky Blue. Taylor Lytle just inside of the box. Can she cross it in? No, she plays it back to Skrosky, who is calling for it. Here's a cross in to Caesar. Can she create space? Back out to Lytle. Lytle with a cross in. Can she find anybody? No, it's cleared away. And we'll see a Sky Blue throw-in right in the corner. Skrosky, before she throws it in, is tying her shoe. And Kim DeCesar looks a little banged up. She's going to be evaluated, it looks like, on the sideline. And Tasha Kai is warming up just in case she has to enter before the half. Skrosky with the throw-in. Ball's in the box, played to Lytle. A cross in, it's headed, but just over the net. So Sky Blue with another chance. Not quite a shot on goal. That time from Kelly Conheeney.
A good job even to get her head on it. It looked like it was a Seattle ball and an aggressive play by Conheeney to come in and get her head on that.
Great pass from Leah Galton, who had the ball in the box, just dumped it off to Taylor Lytle. And saw that Lytle was there with some space. And just that heads-up play. Leah Galton has been incredibly impressive.
Looks like the right leg for DeCesar, who's down in between the benches right now being worked on.
So we'll see if she re-enters the match right now. Sky Blue playing with 10.
And Kai is up and taking some water. And then here comes DeCesar back on.
And certainly, it looks like she'll probably play the remainder of the half, and maybe they'll reevaluate where she is after that.
And I didn't see anything happen. She just kind of randomly ran off before that throw-in.
And we saw last week Tasha Kai enter in the second half. So maybe it'll be a few minutes earlier than we had anticipated. But likely that we'll see a substitution somewhere later in this match. Rampone defending, gets a piece of it. Out of bounds, we'll see a corner kick for Seattle.
Lauren Barnes, it looks like, is coming over to take her usual kicks from this spot, and she had one that led to a big goal for them against Portland earlier in the season, but I think this is where Naho Kawasumi will be a real big factor because, as I said, her cross is as good as any I've seen in the women's game, and I would expect Kawasumi and Rapinoe even to be sharing corner kick duties at some point.
One of a handful of players named on the NWSL starting 11 from last season. Lauren Barnes, Kim Little, Jessica Fishlock among them. Rodriguez gets ahead. Shot from Solon and saved by Caroline Stanley. Not the most threatening shot, but it was on target. Into the 43rd minute of action. So just a few minutes left before halftime. So far, a pretty even yet back and forth match between Sky Blue and the Seattle Reign. Ball in the midfield. Great job by Keelan Winters to get a piece of it. And Dan, I'm sure that you're aware, a lot of people are aware, there's a pretty big NBA game occurring tonight.
Is there?
It is after this match ends, I'll say that. So you don't have to think about between this match and the NBA game. You can watch both very comfortably.
We're clearly the pregame for Cavs Warriors.
Right, it's going to be a big one. However, Keelan Winters, there's at least a little bit of a connection for her. Her father was an NBA player, played on both the Lakers and the Bucks.
Yeah, head coach also.
Yes, both in the NBA.
With Brian Winters, of course.
Yep. She did not opt for basketball, stuck with soccer, and Dan, I'd have to say that's probably a pretty good move for her.
She's been real good.
Great member of the midfield and a spectacular sliding tackle from Jessica Fishlock. She gets fouled.
And Winters is another one of those players, kind of like Stephanie Cox, who was the left back here the last couple of years and is gone. And nobody's talking about the fact that she's gone, but that's a pretty big loss for the Reign. Keelan Winters is one of those players. You don't recognize a lot of the stuff she does on the field, but all she does is play solid soccer. And I guarantee you the day that Keelan Winters is no longer in the midfield for the Reign, people will notice that things are different in there.
Throw in for Lauren Barnes after a successful header won by Kristen Grubka. DeCesar gets a piece. Fletcher there, and now Fishlock who plays it forward. Another header for Kristen Grubka. Boy, she's been everywhere in defense. Rodriguez, a handball, but a foul before that, called against Keelan Winters.
Additional time will be kept on the field by the referee. Additional time
And so in the 45th minute, we'll see in just a few seconds what the fourth official goes with for extra time. Looks like it'll be 1 minute. Not too much stoppage of play this half. So we'll see if either team can get maybe one more strike before the half. We are still scoreless. Galton loses possession, a little bit sloppy. But we'll see a throw-in for Sky Blue FC. Rodriguez. Rocky crosses it over to Skrosky. A little too much power on that pass. Skrosky has to bring it back. Misplays the ball out of bounds, and Seattle will take over. The fourth official will indicate minimum of 1 minute of added time. Foul called against Sky Blue FC.
The fourth official has indicated that a minimum of 1 minute has been added to the end of the first half.
Seattle will take a free kick.
There's still some time here, but this has really been a positive half for Sky Blue. Obviously, you want positive halves to result in having the lead. The Reign are probably thinking Sky Blue took it to us a little bit more than we wanted to, and it looks like we'll get out.
Header just off frame.
Looks like they'll get out scoreless. Almost spoke too soon on that. But I think from a strict 18-18 soccer perspective, this has been a pretty good half for Sky Blue.
Absolutely. And it looks like Stanley might just be trying to drain out the clock into halftime. We're now 1 minute through. We'll see if this ends it. And it does. So that's the half. Still scoreless here at Yurcak Field between Sky Blue and the Seattle Reign. But overall, a good half for both teams. We'll take a quick break. We're going to send it to the halftime show with Evan Davis and a very special guest that he's got today. We'll come back just before the start of the second half. Make sure you stay tuned with the halftime show. You're watching an NWSL broadcast, scoreless here between Sky Blue FC and Seattle Reign FC.
And we are scoreless at halftime here at Yurcak Field. Hello and welcome to the Sky Blue Halftime Show. I am Evan Davis, joined by a very special guest today. She is the visual journalist for 538, the data journalism site at ESPN, and she's also had a little professional women's soccer experience herself. It's Allison McCann. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Thank you for having me, Evan.
So, a 0-0 draw so far in this first half, but a rather nervy one so far. What are you seeing out of Sky Blue so far?
I think they're executing their game plan super well. You can tell that they're playing that super high back line, collapsing Seattle's midfield in a way that is very frustrating for them, and being really patient and just trying to spring O'Hara and Galton on that left side. We've seen their best chances come from sort of that wait, and then get those them going on the wide left. And yeah, both sides have had a few, I think, off the post on both ends. So it seems like we are bound to get a goal sooner or later.
Now, what's a lot of the talk has been about Leah Galton. At a Hofstra, wanted to finish her senior year before joining up with the team. This is her first start, and already we're kind of understanding why Sky Blue wanted to draft her and get her into the starting 11. How has she performed on that left side?
I think she's doing absolutely phenomenal. I mean, she might be not the most game fit yet. She's only had a few, come in late substitution. But I think she's having a field day on that left side. She's getting around Ellie Reed. She's cutting in and playing Kelly wide left. And I think she's got pace. She's very strong. And I think that if Sky Blue does manage to score, it's definitely going to come from something that she brought to the game.
Now, Seattle is known, obviously, for its midfield play, connecting passes through the middle. That is what they do. And they are not really able to accomplish that today. How is Sky Blue shutting down players like Jessica Fishlock, like Kim Little, like Keelan Winters, who are considered among the best midfielders in this league?
Yeah, I feel like this is the absolute worst scenario for a midfield like those three. Like you said, Sky Blue plays their back line so high. We're seeing the game with almost, a 50-yard span here, and they are forcing the long ball out of the back. And I don't think that is Seattle's strong suit. They don't have really any super pacey forward, and by playing the long ball, they're bypassing their three best players on the field. So I think they need to figure out a way to either, spring Little as a forward or spring Fishlock and look to combine a little bit through there and not be playing the long ball because that's not working out for them well.
Now, even when you have a player like Kim Little in your team, something can happen. And we saw a little bit of that magic when she fed Jessica Fishlock that shot that skied the bar. How special is Kim Little, and how do you try and get her back into this game, because you don't want her becoming a spectator in a match like this?
Yeah, like I was saying, I want to see her, she's playing in the midfield, but I want to see her maybe, combine with the forward if, a forward checks deep and then she makes the second run through, and I think that's how we'll, slip one in and get behind this back line. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think she can make history tonight, right? She's sitting on 29 goals, and if she hits 30, she will be the NWSL leading goal scorer. So, I would like to see her achieve that feat.
Sky Blue fans definitely do not want to see that tonight, but we will see what happens in the second half. Allison, you are the visual journalist for 538 since the site's move over to ESPN 2 years ago, and you have tried to focus a lot on women's sports when you're able. Well, how important is data journalism in women's sports, and what are some of the things that you think need to move forward in order for data, statistical analysis to really become just a second-hand or second-nature element of watching a women's soccer game, women's basketball game, softball, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, data is extremely important when you want to tell a more nuanced story than the color commentary that we're exchanging up here. I would love to have, things that tell me expected goals and, these extra levels of nuance to the game that you get from data that you don't just get from speculating on how you're feeling and stuff. So, yeah, I think data and analytics are tremendously important for women's sports if you want to, tell these stories that are perhaps a little more insightful to the game than just what you and I are seeing right now and what that means in the broader scope of the league and everything that's happened this season and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do a little bit at 538.
And you actually did create an NWSL projection model in preseason, had Sky Blue finishing 6th. How was that? First of all, how did you develop that model? And now that the season has got 9 weeks of itself behind it, How are you doing in those projections?
Well, I think it is super rudimentary. These are some of the first projections for the NWSL, and obviously you're sitting on 2 seasons, so not, the most robust data set. But it's been really interesting to try to, use what we can. We do have game scores, we have, goals, shots, and pretty basic stats that we're bringing into this. It leaned heavily on Kansas City and Seattle, who were, the top two finishers of the past 2 seasons, and we are not seeing that this season. So in some respects, it is not doing so well because of that. But I think that some of these teams like Sky Blue that people were expecting to be at the bottom of the pack, we had them in the middle, and here they are sitting right around, middle range. So the model has been pretty good.
Now, what are some data points that you would like to add into the model for next season in order to try and build its predictive value?
I guess possession would be super helpful. We don't have a ton of possession stats. Let's see what else. Yeah, things like expected goals. Those are 2 of the big ones for me. But and just I guess it would be nice to somehow bring in WPS and WUSA data for the teams that maybe have existed, or these players that have been around for a while. We have no player stats, for example, so to have a little bit more information about the people that are on these teams and not just broad strokes about teams, because these teams do change a lot year to year.
Now, you actually played with Kelly O'Hara at Stanford. You guys are old friends, and you yourself got a little bit of a taste of the professional soccer life, playing with the Boston Breakers reserves in the old WPS days in 2009. So you know the game. You've been around the game a long time. How have you seen the evolution of professional women's club soccer in this country get to the point that it is today? In what ways has it changed for the better, and what ways does it still need to move forward now that we are in a historic 4th season and will most certainly be back for a 5th next year?
It's so good. I mean, the fact that I'm not playing is a testament to how good it is. I think that just there's so much more parity. We're seeing like this. We have a, Sky Blue, who's sort of a middle range, middle of the pack team right now, and they're holding their own with Seattle, who is usually a front runner, and teams like Seattle and Kansas City are no longer blowing everyone out of the water. So we're seeing, really just parity across the league, and in seasons past, in the WPS, in WUSA, we had these teams like FC Gold Pride and LA Soul who would just go out and crush teams 7-0, and that's not happening anymore, really. So I think that, the league as a whole, across all teams, every team is getting stronger, and it's, super good for the game and super good for the league.
Now, we got a second half coming up. We are scoreless. What needs to happen in the second half, particularly for Sky Blue, to see if they can try and find that winning goal?
Yeah, I think that they need to keep being super patient. I like Kim DeCesar up there. She's holding the ball well. I just want kind of like one more offensive spark. I don't know if that's going to be Natasha Kai or Sam Kerr maybe getting in there, but I think that we need like just one more offensive player to be playing with Dalton and Kelly as they get that, wide run in. We need someone in the box to hopefully finish. So yeah, I would like to see just a little bit more of an offensive threat from Sky Blue.
Well, we will look forward to that. Dan Loletta and Corey Cohen will be on the call for the second half. Allison, thank you so much for joining us. You can find all of Allison's work at 538.com. You can follow her on Twitter at ATMcCann. And we will see you on July 9th for the next Sky Blue Halftime Show. I'm Evan Davis. Thank you so much for watching.
What if everything that matters to your health was all connected? Your fitness center, connected to your everyday doctor, connected to all the best specialists and hospitals around, connected to your nutritionist, to your physical therapist, even at-home care for your mom. And everything's connected so you can make appointments online. Wouldn't you like having connections like that? Well, thanks to Meridian, you can. Hey, it's good to be connected.
Find all the connections that matter to you at Meridian Health, taking care of New Jersey.
What if every
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for this NWSL broadcast of Sky Blue FC as they are in a scoreless draw with Seattle Reign FC here on Pride Night at Yurcak Field in Piscataway, New Jersey. I'm Corey Cohen with my partner Dan Lauletta. Dan, let's talk about that first half of play that we saw between these two teams. Scoreless, but still very exciting soccer. What did you see from both of them?
Well, obviously both teams hit a crossbar, so there's two different ways to play a scoreless half. You can have a dull scoreless half or a scoreless half where a lot of things happen. This is one where a lot of things happened. Taylor Lytle hit the crossbar, and then there was an open goal for Sky Blue to get a rebound, and they did get it, but didn't get to it quickly enough. And the Reign had an excellent opportunity when Kim Little got through and then sent a cross over to Jess Fishlock, but her one-touch finish was only able to hit the underside of the crossbar. Caroline Stanley, meanwhile, has had a couple of very well-timed forays off her line to snuff out some other stuff. But how about Leah Galton on that left side? She had the one play where she just blew by Ellie Reed, but she has been really extraordinary. I thought Kelly Conini could have gotten a better touch on the one attempt after Galton blew by Reed, but a lot of impressive things happening for Sky Blue offensively tonight.
Yeah, Galton, incredibly young player. Again, her first career start being made here tonight at Yurcak Field. She's just 22 years old, just turned 22. The English international graduate of Hofstra joined the team after a couple matches into the season, and she's just been dynamite so far. We're going to send it down to the field as the second half is about to begin here at Yurcak Field between Sky Blue FC and the Seattle Reign. We are just about to kick off. Seattle in the lime green kits, heading now from the left side of your screen to the right. Those lime green uniforms with the Microsoft logo on the front. Sky Blue with the Meridian Health logo in the light blue jerseys, now heading from the right to the left. Again, I'm Corey Cohen, my partner Dan Lauletta. We want to wish everybody out there a happy Father's Day, both of our fathers. And again, Dan, being a father, happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much. My young one is in attendance tonight at Yurcak. First game of the season.
And as I'm sure people noticed, the tie, the number one dad tie that Dan was very appropriately wearing at the broadcast today. Kim DeCesar takes a shot, but it is deflected. And so Seattle will respond. Again, Pride Night here has been we mentioned earlier, it's just been for the entire league a big point for them to represent the equality for the LGBT movement. And one of the things is Pride Week was scheduled, and this game being Pride Week was scheduled so long ago. However, it ended up working out. I'm not fortuitously. It sounds a little odd, but with, of course, the awful tragedy happening down in Orlando, the fact that this has really been the week that the entire country has really stood up and stood by the LGBT community, it is appropriate that this night is Pride Night, and that also will tie in to the tribute that there was the moment of silence earlier, and then also approaching in the 49th minute. So when the clock hits 48, we're going to step away from the microphones for those 49 seconds, as there's going to be a tribute from the fans from Cloud9, the supporters group, as they are going to just stand and applaud for the entire 49 seconds at the 49th minute to commemorate the 49 lives lost in the tragedy down in Orlando.
And I'm sure Cloud9 will get everybody else up on their feet as well.
Absolutely, and Cloud9 has always done a great job with equality and with LGBT pride, and Sky Blue also doing a spectacular job, and really the entire league. I mean, if you go on Twitter right now, you'll see the Sky Blue logo with the rainbow equality flag. On the logo, in the logo, Orlando has had sort of a black and white motif on their account ever since the tragedy, and really the entire league, both with this tragedy, but also just in general, in terms of LGBT equality, has done a spectacular job. And to the point where even though it's not that controversial or anything, it's much more accepted now, fortunately, than it has been, as there's a shot on goal, it's wide. It's still not perfect. We're still not exactly where we all want to be. And with that said, we're going to take a break here as we enter the 49th minute.
This time, we ask that you please rise and applaud for 49 seconds as a tribute to the fallen victims of Orlando. Thank you.
And certainly a great moment for the equality movement, for the LGBT community, both for everything that happened down at the tragedy in Orlando, but also removed from that, not too removed, unfortunately, but just any LGBT players who are in attendance here, any LGBT players on the field or on the roster for either of these two teams. I mean, unlike some other leagues where there maybe haven't been any LGBT players who have at least come out, or maybe there's just been one. In the NWSL, it's not even mentioned. It's just I mean, it's as normal as anything, which is really what you want to see from a professional sports league in this country.
Very, very true, Corey. Well said.
So we now are in the 50th minute here at Yurcak Field after that very touching and powerful tribute for everything that happened down in Orlando. And now Cloud9 actually leading the crowd in All You Need Is Love by the Beatles. I believe the title is actually Love Is All You Need.
I'm sure that would have been corrected on Twitter had you not done that yourself.
There are a couple diehard Beatles out fans there who would have had my head, yes.
My halftime moles tell me that Kim DeCesar was cramping a little bit there in the first half, and I was just going to say I don't know how long we'll see her, and I see Tasha Kai right now is by the fourth official with the penny off, so it looks like an early second half sub for Sky Blue.
And that's happening, it looks like, right now. So perfect timing, Dan. And we'll see who she's entering the game for. I believe Kim DeCesar. And it will be Kim DeCesar. So Tasha Kai set to enter the game coming off the bench. And Tasha Kai, you'll notice if you can see it in her hair, actually dyed her hair rainbow colors. So every color in the rainbow is in her hair right now. You see some yellow, you can see some blue, some red. So just a really cool personal tribute to Pride Week here at Sky Blue.
Well, if anybody would do that, it would be Tasha Kai. There's no doubt about that.
She absolutely has no doubt, no delay in her ability to make a statement, particularly using her body. Again, 60-plus tattoos, just sort of, wild hair, but you put it all together and it's just great. You couldn't want anything better than Tasha Kai. And as you mentioned, a great player to come off the bench and provide a bit of a spark with all the energy that she brings as a player, but also as a person. Corner kick taken. Off the mark, there was some contact in the box. The fans wanted a foul and a penalty kick. They won't get it, but a Seattle player is down.
I think they should have gotten it, and I think Hope Solo just restarted the play a little too quickly there with one of her players down behind her.
Yeah, she definitely could have waited. I'm not sure if she didn't notice or if she just wanted the play to continue.
That's Corsi, who's now up and back in the play, but I thought that was a push. I've seen a much softer contact in the box, go for a penalty.
So Sky Blue does not get that, and there have been a couple times this season that things haven't gone their way, sometimes by a referee's judgment call as Leah Galton crosses it into the box. Hope Solo lets it go, oddly. Ball's in the air and offsides, I believe, is the call, but doesn't seem like a very good call by Hope Solo to not want a piece of that.
No, I think that was a misplay on Solo's part. Looked like she maybe misjudged it. If there's someone on the back post, obviously, that's an easy finish.
So
a couple of odd moments here for Solo early in this half.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Solo maybe just this season on the club level hasn't been playing up to the level that we've come accustomed to.
Also, when Galton came down the flank there, Ellie Reed gave her a ton of space, which could be a reaction to how much Galton's speed did read in at times in the first half.
Right, she doesn't want to get burned yet again. And Hope Solo, I was talking to Evan Davis just after his halftime show, and there could be many factors that lead to a subpar performance so far this season. One of them could be the fact that she is starting to become one of the older players in the NWSL. She's 34 now, and certainly for goalkeepers, you've still got some time left. Galton creates some space in the box, takes a shot, Solo deflects. Kai with the second chance misses. Sky Blue getting incredibly close yet again, but a nice save from Hope Solo, just as we were talking about a couple subpar performances from her this season. Nice save, nice deflection. Kai, though, right there, but just too much power. Tough to settle that ball.
Yeah, she came up big there, did solo, and that was a free rebound for Kai. You're not going to put them all in, but you don't get chances like that too often. At the very least, you want to try to get it on frame. Easier said than done.
Yeah, being able to time the ball as it's on its way down. As you said, easier said than done. But Kai, a great finisher who, again, scored on Hope Solo in that first match of the season, and she's certainly hoping to do it again.
But I'll tell you what, the Reign do not have an answer right now for Leah Galton on that left flank.
And we'll see moving forward this season. This is Galton's first start. If any teams really have an answer for her, I mean, she might be. You don't see too many players in this league who just have incredible speed and are really not afraid to use it. And so we'll see moving forward if any team really has an answer for Galton, because not too many teams have seen that much of her yet.
Well, and of course with that comes the ability to scout and try to kind of figure out a game plan. So it figures to get tougher for Galton as well as it will be for defenders. But right now, Reign have got to try to figure out how to slow her down.
Absolutely. So a free kick coming for Sky Blue here in the 56th minute. Hope Solo. Calling for her defenders. Now we see a play. Lytle on the wing, crosses it in. The ball's loose. Last touch, I believe, from Kanhini, and it was.
Reign had a pretty quick start to this half when we were talking about some of the other stuff and leading into the tribute, but since we came out of the tribute, Sky Blue has been pushing pretty hard here the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Located on the stadium concourse.
Header won by Skrosky, but a nice play from Kim Little. 3 goals, 2 assists for Little on the season. Through pass broken up by Kristen Grubka. Seattle challenges again, goes right past the net. And while Stanley couldn't get a piece of it, definitely a nice strike from Seattle. A little too close for comfort if you're a Sky Blue fan. Caroline Stanley, pass for Kelly O'Hara. Galton, nice pass forward. Couldn't quite get it to Kai, but does enough where Corsi has to knock it out of bounds, and Sky Blue earns the throw-in.
Yeah, well read by Corsi to come over and join that play and knock it away.
We'll see another throw-in for Sky Blue. O'Hara to Killian, right back to Kelly O'Hara. Can't get it through Keelan Winters. And a nice touch from Beverly Yanez. Gets her head on it. She's still going. She's got Little with her. Yanez plays it through to Little in the box. Shot stopped by Caroline Stanley. What a save for the former backup keeper of Seattle.
And look who the one defensive player to get back was. It was the right back, Erica Skrosky. A complete defensive breakdown for Sky Blue, but fantastic hustle by Skrosky to get in the way of Little and at least force her to take something off that shot. There's a counterattack, though, that we talked about that has been somewhat missing in Seattle this season, but that one was pretty good, and it's not over yet because they won a corner kick off of it.
So we'll see what Seattle can do with this corner. Barnes to take it. Corner into the box. It's in the air. A header, but not a very good one. It's off target, and we'll see a goal kick for Sky Blue. Stanley boots it. We'll see who gets it. Header won by Galton, but that means a Seattle throw-in. Christy Holly handing the ball off to Ellie Reed. I believe this is the first match, at least home match, that Coach Holly is not wearing his now sort of trademark sweater vest.
It's a good call.
It's pretty hot out there, but with the wind, the breeze that's coming in, it actually Feels pretty nice outside. 81 degrees. Ball with Fishlock. Through pass. Kim Little has the ball. Crosses it in and headed away.
Laura Harvey, by the way, on the other hand, is in her usual outfit, which is basic track shorts or pants and the shirt with the LH.
And all black, which come a certain point in the summer will not be all that forgiving. Another header won by Christy Rampone. Conhini with a bit of a poor first step and a forward pass that's taken by Fletcher. Solo boots it out. And we'll see what Seattle can do here. Fishlock, now Little. Kim Little instrumental for this Seattle team, one of the top players in the NWSL this season. Fishlock didn't realize the through pass was to her. Galton there. And I have to say, Dan, Leah Galton, not only has she been stellar up front, but she's done a great job getting back in defense as well.
Yeah, she made an eye-opening play in the first half when she bodied down Kim Little and drove her into the corner. And when I watched it the first time, having not as familiar as I will eventually be with Galton,
the winner of the 2016
O'Hara tangled up with Matthias. No foul called.
Much to Laura Harvey's dismay, but I didn't realize right away who it was, not thinking that Sky Blue had a number 21 that plays in a defensive position, and then realizing that it was Galton who was back there, not only making the effort, but technique was pretty good too.
Kai loses possession, and Keelan Winters takes over. Rampone with a good tackle. Winters has to play it back and gives it up to Sky Blue. Lytle for Skrosky.
Congratulations and thanks for playing.
Headed back from Corsi, and Hope Solo will pick it up. Solo passes to Corsi, and now across to Kendall Fletcher. Now, we haven't seen much, Dan, from Merritt Matthias. She's only scored 1 goal on the season. Very young, talented player up top for Seattle.
Well, back at the NSCAA convention, which is where the NWSL draft is held, Laura Harvey did a talk about defending from the front, meaning defending, how to defend starting with your forward line, and could not have been more complimentary about Merritt Matthias and her ability to lead the defensive effort from a forward position. And there were some key games last season where Laura Harvey actually told me that the key to the opponent not being able to do what the opponent wanted to do was actually Merritt Matthias. So she's a very valuable piece of this team, whether she's scoring or not, even though she does play in that role up top. I think it's noticeable more so this season because they're not getting the same production from some of their other players.
Exactly. Matthias, as we see a great slide tackle from Fishlock to dispossess Tasha Kai. Ball now with Little in the box. Shot is deflected, and it doesn't go in. I believe Christy Rampone got the piece of it that broke it up before Stanley could make a play. No, that was Grubka.
Grubka originally fell down on that play, too.
I believe, actually, that might have been Rampone. Yeah, as you said, Grubka fell down, and then it was Rampone.
It's dangerous, too, because if that takes the wrong bounce, Stanley's got no shot at it. But what a fantastic long ball from Fishlock.
Absolutely. Matthias, by the way, still very young, from Birmingham, Alabama, graduated from Texas A&M, just 25 years old. We see a corner kick here. Kai gets a piece of it, and she's down. That looked tough, and we'll see how hurt Tasha Kai is, and she's really taken a beating. I mean, I spoke to Christy Holly earlier this week about Tasha Kai and bringing her off the bench, and part of it is just the fact that, I mean, she 32, returned to soccer after a couple years off, and then really was thrown into the deep end because there weren't many other options up top. And since then, she's really taken a beating, and just a lot of small injuries that have seemed to add up.
Which really has always been the way she's played.
Yeah, she's a tough player.
She's always seems to be nicked up, even back in her prime years. Substitution here, Erin Simon is on for Kelly Conhini, so I'll be interested to see what the formation switch is
Simon normally plays fullback, and it looks like she will as well. Perhaps O'Hara will play in a more forward position for the remainder of this match. We'll see.
That's O'Hara right now defending in kind of a right midfielder forward spot.
And so it looks like that'll be the switch, that Kelly O'Hara will play a more attacking position going forward with Simon and Skrosky as the fullbacks. Something, again, moving forward through the season will probably be more common with Kelly O'Hara on national team duty.
They've had a lot of interchanging parts back there. It started off where one of them was where Simon was on the outside and Skrosky was in the middle, but they weren't next to each other. Then they made a switch with O'Hara, and the rookies were next to each other, and now they're playing dual fullback roles.
Galton is gifted by Ellie Reed. Here's Galton across into the box. Kai has possession for a moment, but loses it. Will it stay in bounds or will it be a throw-in? Simon keeps it in. Can she cross it into the box? She does. Hope Solo right there and makes the catch. Good grab by the U.S. top keeper.
And just now, again, Ellie Reed backed off when Galton was coming down the left flank. So those are absolutely free crosses for Galton. If that continues to happen, Sky Blue's going to have to do some better work getting people on the end of those crosses, and Galton's going to have to put them where she wants them.
Leah Galton. She knocks it out of bounds and looks like an injured player for Seattle over on the sideline, actually. Couldn't tell.
That's Matthias there. Reed had her hands up as if to say, what's going on? Like there might have been miscommunication. I had missed that Matthias was a little bit hobbled behind the play.
Right, and so Galton did the honorable thing, kicked it out of bounds, and we'll let Matthias be evaluated by the trainers. Just 25 years old. She will actually turn 26 in a few days. The reason that stood out to me is because we actually share the same birthday. Christy Rampone in the 67th minute. Boots it across to Skrosky, all the way back to Caroline Stanley.
Speaking of birthdays, last birthday is a 40-year-old for Christy last home game is a 40-year-old for Christy Rampone.
Absolutely incredible what she can still do. Because, I mean, you don't mention her a ton because as a center back, there may not be a ton on the stat sheet, but she's done a stellar job. Leah Galton gets tripped up. Now the ball with Taylor Lytle, Aaron Simon. She crosses it in, looking for Tasha Kai. Header is bounced. Tasha Kai takes a second shot. A goal for Sky Blue. No offsides. Sky Blue does not score. O'Hara finished, but it didn't count.
And did the original header by Kai hit the back of O'Hara's head?
I believe it did, yeah. I think it was Kai off of O'Hara, so it was deflected. Yep.
Yeah, O'Hara went up for it, and it went over her head, and then she put herself in a very obvious offside position.
And always so tough when you score that goal, especially the general drama of two national team starters, Kelly O'Hara against Hope Solo, two of the most prominent members of women's soccer in the entire country, really the entire world. And certainly a goal from O'Hara past Solo would have been a lot of fun for so many fans, but it does not count. It's called off. Header in. Nice job by Rachel Corsi to knock it out of bounds as Hope Solo gives her teammate a high five. Sky Blue oh so close here in the 69th minute. And Seattle has gotten very close at a couple points in this match as well. But for Sky Blue, you can nearly taste it as they're looking for another win against Seattle after they defeated the Reign 2-1 at Memorial Stadium, the first game of the 2016 season. Corner kick, Solo gets a piece, but it's still alive. Finally knocked out of bounds by Merritt Matthias, who's back in the game. So we'll see another corner taken by Kelly O'Hara. Can Sky Blue score on this corner kick? Lot of power, and it's loose. Rampone gets a piece of it. Was it the last touch? It was, and so we'll see a goal kick for Seattle.
Not a real driven-in corner kick there by O'Hara. A lot of hang time that usually plays to the benefit of the defense.
Seattle making their first substitution of the game. Laura Harvey putting Carson Pickett into the match for Havana Salon, who's making her second career start.
And here comes another one, too. Dahlstrom is on the way in for Matthias. So 2 changes for the Reign. We saw Matthias a little hobbled earlier. Salon, I thought, a little bit of a quiet follow-up. Had some moments in the first half, a little bit of a quiet follow-up to the game that saw her score her first professional goal.
So Carson Pickett, again, a college teammate of Kristen Grubka, both played on that defensive line for Florida State when they did not allow a goal in the NCAA tournament, went on to win the whole thing. So I'm sure they'll have a nice conversation after the match, but we've still got a good 20 minutes and change to go here in New Jersey. Sent just outside of the box, Seattle challenging, a through pass for Dahlstrom, and Seattle still challenging here.
You know what would be really nice to see? If players would let the referee call the game and not call the offsides themselves, and every time they go down, not put their hand up. And I get once in a while there's something egregiously missed. But I would really love to see us get back to a time where the players played, let the officials handle their business.
We might be past that, my friend, throughout the entire sport. Cross into the box, Tasha Kai. Tough first touch, too much power there.
Well, and at some point after every game, then sure, you can go back and analyze the officials, and without a doubt, the referees can be a lot better in this league and honestly throughout the world in soccer. But it would just, I think, would be nice not to have the players always trying to make the calls for them.
And again, it's something that has really become prevalent throughout the entire sport at every level, men's and women's, and not just this sport, but with basketball, again, with the NBA Finals being a big topic now. I saw a tweet a couple days ago that someone complaining that in the NBA that players always constantly calling for fouls, and that really through all sports, it really just has become part of the game, it seems. Seattle on the left flank. We'll see if they can build up an attack from there. Ellie Reed out of bounds, and we'll see a throw-in for Sky Blue FC.
We're coming to the point in the match now for Sky Blue, and we seem to say this every home game. It's close. They've played well. Absolutely need to get a point out of this, but there's no reason to think at this point in time that they only need to settle for a point. They should be absolutely thinking that they've got a goal in them to walk out of here with 3 points.
Exactly. Look at the standings.
And if you're the Reign, same thing. You can still think, hey, we've got a goal in us. We've got players that can make things happen quickly, but I'm still not seeing the same Reign team that was so good in 2014-15.
Seattle Reign in 6th place with 11 points. Sky Blue FC in 7th place with 9 points. A Sky Blue win here would obviously propel them above Seattle in the table.
And again, we've already seen the first 3 games of the week were wins by Washington, Chicago, and Portland, who not in that order are 1, 2, 3 in the table, and none of the 3 seem to be slowing down anytime soon.
And when you're playing a team relatively near you in the standings, you certainly are desperate for those 3 points. Kai wisely finds Galton. She's in the box now. A lot of power. Out of bounds, we'll see a corner kick for Sky Blue FC. And Christy Holly was saying he's a coach that it's not, again, not just what many would say coach speak in terms of things that you hear so often from coaches, but he really means it. He wants 3 points in every single match, and he's never entirely satisfied with just the one. Even on the road at Chicago, he wants those 3 points. And just like that game, he wants 3 points here against Seattle at home. As you've mentioned, really all the home games, 1-goal games for Sky Blue, if not draws. but they want to come out on top. Foul called against Sky Blue, and we'll see a free kick for Seattle Reign FC.
Well, it's been a story. It's eased up a little bit of late, but goals have not been easy to come by for any team in the league this season. The Flash busted out a little bit when they scored 5 on Sky Blue and then 4 the next game against Boston. But there haven't been a lot of blowouts and not really a lot of comeback games either. I was talking last night on Twitter about how there's never been a game in the history of this league in the regular season where a team has been 2 goals down and gotten a 3-point win. The only time it ever happened was in the 2013 semifinal when Kansas City was up 2-0 against Portland. Portland tied it up and eventually won in 3-2 in extra time. That's pretty remarkable with all the games they've played that there's never been a team from 2 goals down win.
It is tough to score without a doubt. Forward for Dahlstream. Header, now it's on the left side. About 20 yards out. Creating some space. A shot headed away. And we'll see if Dahlstream can try again. The shot on goal. No good, but oh so close. I couldn't tell if Stanley got a piece of it. She did not, so it'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, I thought she did, but apparently not.
And we'll take a look at that replay here. Dahlstream ambitiously going for the shot, but at this point in the game, why not? Looks like she just missed it.
That was close.
Definitely a curve on the ball, a natural curve that I think might have deceived the both of us. But without a doubt, very close to Stanley touching it. And while she was going for it, she ends up being fortunate that she did not get a piece of it. Sky Blue wins the goal kick. And here's Leah Galton on the left wing. Plays it for Taylor Lytle out of Las Cruces, New Mexico. Aaron Simon to throw the ball in to Lytle. Right back to Simon. Lytle on the outside of the box. Kai gets ahead. Can Skrosky win the header? She does. Killian keeps possession for Sky Blue. 77th minute. Still scoreless, but a very entertaining scoreless draw thus far. Out of bounds, Seattle with the throw-in. Multiple players from Seattle, their previous club, a team they previously played for in Melbourne. Definitely a bit of an oddity, but Lauren Barnes, Kim Little, Ellie Reed, and Jessica Fishlock all previously played their professional soccer in Melbourne.
We don't talk a lot about what the players do in the offseason, but it can certainly help from a chemistry standpoint and also just from an experience standpoint, just sometimes getting minutes or...
And so here's Kim Little in the box. She's dangerous, creates some space, and taken away so cleanly and kept alive by Christy Rampone, the captain of Sky Blue FC. Cloud9 and the fans are thrilled with that defensive presence of Christy Rampone. What an incredible, clean tackle to disarm a player in the box.
Not just a player.
A player with 3 goals. Seattle. Shot saved by Caroline Stanley.
Oh, and one of the hardest players to dispossess in the entire league.
Again, Kim Little, 3 goals, 2 assists on the season. One of the top players this season in the NWSL. Lytle in the midfield, back to Killian, who plays it up. Can she find Galton? She was on. So what can Galton do with it? Well, she can cross it into the box. Kai misses the header, and it's knocked forward by Carson Pickett. But a player down for Seattle in the box. Pickett, just 22 years old, 4th overall pick in this 2016 NWSL draft. Just 2 picks behind Rocky Rodriguez, and that's Kendall Fletcher who's down.
And earlier after that dispossession play with Rampone and Little, it took Bev Yanez a little time to get up. And Kirsten Dahlstream, who just came on, was doing some stretching in midfield just now. So as I've said, it's been a rough go of it for the Reign with their health as Kai and Fletcher come together for what looked like an apology maybe from Kai or a no hard feelings.
And so she will gently head off the field,
Remember,
at least for the moment.
Remember, Fletcher got hurt in the final last year. Ellie Reed came on and took her spot at what was then right back. And immediately, Heather O'Reilly, who hadn't been on the left flank the entire night, went over to the left side, beat Ellie Reed, and sent in the cross to Amy Rodriguez for the only goal of the match.
And so we will play on. 80th minute here in New Jersey.
Fans, Meridian Health and Sky Blue FC are teaming
So
up
again,
for
neither
a
team
hat-trick.
would likely be
It's the
happy
third year
with that
Meridian
1
Health
point.
is
So
the
we'll
title
see
sponsor
if
and
one of the
official
teams
healthcare provider to Sky Blue FC.
can earn a game winner here in the final 10 minutes of action.
Fletcher's back on for Seattle.
And immediately gets possession. Fletcher will play it all the way back to Hope Solo. Solo very much forward and now gives it away. Fletcher. Taylor Lytle here, but broken up by Lauren Barnes. Forward now, Rampone chasing along with Simon. Rampone gets there first and gives it up to Stanley, right back to Rampone. Galton with Ellie Reed all over her. Out of bounds, it'll be a throw-in for Sky Blue FC.
Just checking the archives, hasn't been a scoreless draw at Yurcak since 2013. Sky Blue did have one earlier this season in Houston, and Seattle had one with Portland a few weeks ago.
Rampone boots it away, nice defense.
And 2 years ago, these teams had a scoreless draw out at Memorial Stadium, where Sky Blue, they beat Seattle to end that long unbeaten run, but for whatever reason, they've always played the rain pretty well. Remember last year, they had them beat in stoppage time on the last regular season game out there. And Fishlock tied it up in the pouring rain in stoppage time to salvage that streak for a 1-1 draw.
And this Sky Blue Seattle matchup is always a good one. The overall record for Seattle against Sky Blue FC, 3-3-3. And we'll see a substitution as Lindsay Elston will enter the game.
Number 6, Lindsay Elston.
And it looks like she's going to come in for Keelan Winters.
And that's a rare substitute out for Keelan Winters.
Right, because Lindsay Elston, it's very common that she enters the game and enters late. Through the 8 matches this season, she's got 7 appearances, although she hasn't started a single match. But you're right. Odd to see Winters coming out, the captain for this team. Across, Stanley is there. Makes another good grab.
That 3-3-3 mark you mentioned, the first 2 Sky Blue wins were in 2013 when the rain were horrid. And then they didn't beat them again, although, again, they played them tough more often than not. Didn't beat them again until opening weekend this season.
Lytle. Kai gets the head, intended for Lytle, but broken up by Fishlock. Ball's loose in front of the box, some contact. And Kelly O'Hara frustrated that there was no foul call. Definitely some contact. It looked like she was held. But again, when you're in the box and a foul means a penalty kick, the ref is going to be much more likely to swallow that whistle. Ball here with Dahlstream. Tangled up with Simon. Somehow no foul. There was plenty of contact from both sides. Simon sticking right with her. And Rocky Rodriguez gives it to Galton. Sky Blue has possession.
I'm not even sure who there should have been a foul on, but I was surprised there wasn't one.
I feel the exact same way. I couldn't tell who it was on, but you're right. There was enough contact that you would have assumed there would have been a whistle. And a player down for Sky Blue in the midfield. Let's see if they stop play. Christy Holly asking the official to blow the whistle. Sky Blue playing with 10, and Rodriguez just boots it out. And so play stops. Is that Galton? It is. Cloud9, the supporters group here, chanting Leah Galton's name.
I didn't see what happened, but it's always a little bit more disconcerting when the player goes back down after play stops, because, as you know, being down is the signal for, hey, let's stop this and take a moment, but she hasn't gotten back up yet. She actually looks to be in a pretty significant amount of pain.
So certainly not good for Sky Blue, as they've got plenty of attackers, but a lot of them battling injuries. Tasha Kai sort of constantly battling injuries. Then there's Sam Kerr, who entered last week, but then was downgraded to doubtful this week. Looks like she won't play after a bit of a re-aggravation, so she's struggling to become healthy. And then, of course, Maya Hayes, who's been out the past few weeks with an injury. Earlier this season, she was a big factor up in a right-wing position. And you can only imagine when everyone's healthy, if Galton's on the left wing, as she loves playing, and Maya Hayes on the right wing with Kerr or Kai on the inside, that could be lethal.
Sounds like Hayes is pretty close to being back. Holly said, maybe we could have pushed it for this week, but it's been pretty standard for him to be very conservative with players coming back from injury, as we see Kai with a little assistance for Galton, who still looks to be in pretty significant pain.
So much that she's being helped off the field, not just walking off on her own, as many players do after taking an injury. So that doesn't look very good.
And Shauna Gordon, who was in the lineup and was the player replaced in the starting lineup by Galton this week, sub-card in hand, and can't imagine this won't be taking Galton out, is about halfway home. She puts her arm around the trainer and now not putting any weight on the right leg at all.
And so they will make that substitution.
Right to the trainer's table next to the Sky Blue dugout.
Coming to the game for your Sky Blue FC.
Kai helping her off.
Shauna Gordon.
And so Shauna Gordon enters the game in the 87th minute. Both teams looking at perhaps a 0-0 draw, as you mentioned, not very common here at Yurcak.
I'll tell you what, as Galton goes off injured, a heck of a performance by her.
Once again, fans with a wristband to take a
Absolutely, a huge game, and one of the top players, if not the top player, in this entire match. You look at Galton, Grubka, and Rampone have both played tremendously in the back, and Stanley's had a great game.
When you consider it's only her fourth game in the league as a rookie, wasn't around for the games before that because she was at school. Yeah, she did train with the team in preseason, first time going more than 45 minutes. Really exceptional effort. Hopefully she's okay.
Simon was offside. She's still chasing it. And she knew that she was off for a moment because she pulled back, but thought that she had gotten all the way back into an onside position before the pass came. The assistant referee disagrees with her. And we are approaching the 89th here in Piscataway. The boot forward. Nice tackle from Rodriguez. Kai gets a piece of it, but not enough. And Fletcher takes it for Seattle.
Official time will be kept on the field by the referee. Additional time will be indicated
and a
by
foul
the
called
official on the sideline.
Against the rain. We'll see a free kick for Sky Blue FC. The header on net, but Hope Solo is right there. And I believe that was Kristen Grubka who got a head on it.
Time to revisit what we said last weekend, which still applies. No games in the league this season have been decided by goals in the 90th minute or stoppage time to either give a team a win or a draw.
And so from here on out, we're in the 90th minute. Although the clock on the broadcast will keep ticking, so you'll have exactly an idea of how much time will be left in this match. The scoreboard here, however, will stop at 90. Gordon plays it forward. Nobody there, and Solo collects. Hope Solo's given up 5 goals in 6 matches. Now 7. Still hasn't given up a goal tonight in New Jersey. And she'll be departing Seattle soon for the United States women's national team.
And that's one area where the Reign won't miss a beat. Haley Kottmeyer has been spectacular in the times that she's had to fill in for Hope Solo, not only for national team duty, but also at times when Solo's been injured.
So 4 minutes of added time.
When you consider that Caitlin Rowland got traded the other day for 2 second-round picks from Kansas City to Western New York, I can only imagine the type of offers that Laura Harvey has gotten for Haley Kottmeyer.
And clearly she wants to hold on to her. And again, 2-time Coach of the Year, Laura Harvey knows what she's talking about. Simon. Nice spin move instead of playing it back to Stanley. But Dahlstream takes it. She's got some space. Rampone defending now in the box. Cross in, and it's headed away by Kristen Grubka. Another great play from the Floridian.
Corner kick defending is really what got Sky Blue in trouble against Western New York a few weeks ago. Really the only game this season where they lost their grip on things. Now they're going to have to defend one here to keep things even 0-0.
I mentioned a few players for Seattle playing in Melbourne. I didn't mean Melbourne, Florida, where Grubka's from. No, that was Melbourne, Australia. Lytle, can she get a piece? Nice slide tackle from Ellie Reed.
Good defending there, not the best corner kick from Barnes.
Hope Solo will run all the way out to get that ball. We're approaching the halfway point of this stoppage time. The players, they're not aware of exactly how much time is left. They're just looking for one good opportunity. And Kai was held there for a moment. Not a very good pass intended for Kelly O'Hara, who's now playing on the same side as Aaron Simon. Here on the left flank, we'll see a throw-in for Seattle.
Yeah, that play was on if Kai can get the pass through. Not an easy pass to make, and didn't have nearly enough on it.
Especially because it definitely looked like she was being held, but no foul called. Killian with a nice chip pass to Kelly O'Hara. Good breakup that time, though, from Kendall Fletcher. And about a minute and a half left to play in this match. Can somebody score a game winner? Well, Kelly O'Hara will certainly try. She's got the ball. About 24 yards out. Just outside of the 18, shot is blocked. Rodriguez gets a piece, but Hope Solo collects.
Holly was yelling at his team to go, go, go.
Again, he wants those 3 points.
He does. I'm guessing he wanted a little bit more than that out of that foray.
And we'll see if Seattle can counter here. Simon back, but a nice job by Kim Little, who heads towards the center with some space. On the right, we see Carson Pickett. A defender is playing up. A shot curves off target. Intended to be a shot on goal, but it goes wide. So likely less than a minute to play here in stoppage time. Stanley doesn't look too rushed here. Kai got a piece of it. Seattle takes over. Can they find a game winner? Pickett on the right flank, broken up by Kelly O'Hara. Now Rocky Rodriguez. Lytle back to O'Hara. This could be the final play of the match. Can Sean Gordon get there? Shauna Gordon was onside. Shot is deflected. It's a corner kick for Sky Blue.
They're not going to get it.
And so the match ends on a 0-0 draw between Sky Blue FC and Seattle Reign FC. So again, neither team particularly thrilled with that result, but they will take it. Sky Blue 0, Seattle Reign 0. A very entertaining game, played well from both sides, and some incredibly close chances, but nobody could quite finish it off. Great job from both defenses and both goalkeepers, and we'll see moving forward between these two squads what that means in the standings. But for right now, it is a scoreless draw here at Yurcak Field. We want to thank everybody for joining us on this broadcast here on at Pride Night. Make sure that you do your best to represent equality and push the LGBT equality movement forward. Also, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. One final time for Kurt Chimay and the entire production team with NJ Discover. For Dan Lauletta, I'm Corey Cohen, signing off from New Jersey.